I will say that if I've already Let's Played the game, right, like the Final Fantasy games, I probably won't do another Let's Play of them, right? I will talk about the history of the game. I'll talk about the influence that the game's had over the years, but I won't Let's Play the game again. There's definitely a lot of games that fall into that criteria, and I don't want you guys to think that, oh, you Let's Played all those games for nothing. You're just going to do them all over again. That's not what I'm trying to do. I want to showcase the games. That's always been my goal. So if I feel that I did that well enough the first time, I won't be doing it again. There are a couple games that I've thought, hey, maybe if I was up to it, I could do that again. And that's where like Super Mario Kart comes into play, where I'm like, maybe I'll just start that over. But most of the games that I have done, I'm going to keep that Let's Play, and I'm just going to refer to that. I have a lot of plans of how to structure this and how to convey all this information. I have spreadsheets going. I might get, a forum going. I might get a website going. I'm not entirely sure how it's going to progress from here. But I want to basically show off the history of video games. That's my goal. It's going to combine some of the things that I have loved from other channels over the years. I've loved watching other people do full Let's Plays so that I can experience the story along with them. And I'm going to talk about the history of the game, the influence that the game has had, and basically the development of the game and how important that is, that I've seen from the retro video game players that are still active, some of them. But that's the goal, to kind of combine those two, because a lot of times people will do reviews of games and not play it. So, if I watched a 10-minute review of Morrowind or something like that, that's not a good indication of what it's like to play Morrowind. It's just little clips here and there of the game, but that's not really the same as experiencing it yourself. So I want to combine those two. I've mentioned before that due to the nature of how things are going to go, I'm not going to be able to have votes, right? I can't have a vote. Which one of these games will you want to play next? Like I said, I've already chosen the order in which I'm going to be playing them, at least for the most part. That is not something that's going to be able to be voted on. I won't be able to necessarily customize the games like I used to be able to, especially when it comes to things like mods and things like that. So votes are just going to disappear on the channel. I've mentioned this several times, and I feel like I justified it earlier, that I felt like it was overall kind of a negative it had a negative impact on the channel as a whole. So I'm going to take those away. And I think that will work out for the best in the long run. People have asked me about Patreon. Am I going to reopen the Patreon? I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards no at this point, if I'm being honest, because I don't really have anything that I can do for perks. If you give me some money, one of the things that happened with Patreon a lot is that half the people donated and did not care. Just, here's my money, I like what you do, and that's it. End of story. The other half of people would give me money and then start kind of demanding things. I had several people that basically threatened to cancel their Patreon subscription or whatever if I did not do what they said. I got people that were upset. Hey, I've paid X amount of money to the channel and I've only gotten X amount of perks. So it caused me a lot more problems than I anticipated. So as of right now, I'm not entirely sure how to feel about Patreon and bringing it back, simply because I don't have anything to give on top of what I'm already doing. At least right now, I can't think of anything. That may change in the future. There may be something that I can do to try to get people, active and feel like they're getting their money's worth by giving me money. But as of right now, I can't think of a way to do that. I'm not that hard up for money, so it's not a huge deal for me. Like I said, I get paid by Google, but I don't get paid enough to support myself doing this. If I'm being 100% honest, my YouTube checks wouldn't even pay the internet bill. So no, it's not, I get paid, but I don't really get paid to do this. So adding to Patreon, it's not really going to help me too much in terms of finances. So it's not worth the added stress to me right now of having some negative people on the Patreon. And once again, I'm not talking about the majority of people. It's definitely a minority. It's just that the minority is so vocal about things sometimes. So as of right now, I'm not thinking about doing more on the Patreon side of things. Maybe I could do that join YouTube thing. I haven't really looked into it, but that seems to be more up the alley of what I'm trying to do. So that might be a better avenue for me to go down as opposed to Patreon with the tiers and the goals and all that kind of stuff. Maybe the YouTube channel, joining the channel would help with that more. But I still need to think of some things to do. Maybe, do a Discord server or a forum like I mentioned before, something like that. But I don't see that happening in the near future. That might be something that happens later on. When it comes to streams, that might be going away. I'm going to have to look into it a little bit more. Once again, I think YouTube might have a better format for that, which is probably not a good thing. But the way that things were going on Twitch was definitely not the way that I wanted it to go. And I have always said that if I do a stream, I still want everybody to be able to see it, even if they weren't available to see the stream live. So I want to include the chat. I want to include all the stuff that I'm able to see in a potential video later. But if I'm showcasing video games, I'm not sure that having the stream going up, the middle of the game is necessarily the way for things to go. So I have to look into it a little bit more, but once again, kind of leaning toward no more streams. And then once again, I'm not sure about the timing just yet. I'm not sure when this is going to start. I have thought about the timing of the videos, and I think I have decided on kind of more of a drastic change when it comes to how the videos are uploaded onto the channel. My goal, I think, is to now upload entire sessions at once. What I have done in the past is I've recorded in batches, right? And a lot of people seem to understand that. There's definitely a lot of people that don't. And they'll demand that if they comment on part 1 that I should have done that by part 2. I even had one guy that thought I was streaming on a 3-year-old video and just posted the same thing 10 times. Apparently I needed to go down one screen. But when it comes to how long each video is, I think I want to move away from having the 3 videos, roughly a total of 45 minutes to an hour of footage a day. Instead, I think I want to go more toward having an entire session uploaded as one video. So I typically go around an hour and a half to 2 hours That's kind of typical for me, unless I'm playing a game where I have to cut out a lot of things, like a turn-based RPG. Then sometimes I only go for about an hour. Or sometimes if it's a really old game and I'm struggling on certain aspects of it, sometimes I can only go about 45 minutes. But I think the goal is to now upload videos as a whole session. That way there's a nice clean end to each video. People aren't confused anymore about why I end at a certain spot or how many videos into the future I have recorded or anything like that. So I think that is going to be how things change for the channel relaunch. Basically, I'm going to be adding on to what I'm already doing with Let's Plays. I'm going to be adding on history and review videos, kind of impact videos, and I'm excited about that. And then I'm going to change things into longer videos, easily an hour long, and upload them when they're ready. I don't think that we'll have a video every day if I do things that way. I'm pretty sure I can't actually record every day, so we will see when we get there. But chances are it's not going to be a video every day. But when I do have a video, there should be a lot of content, and I hope that you guys are looking forward to it. I have been talking for a long time about this, but I am excited. I'm excited to see how this pans out. I have already started working on a lot of it. Like I said, I have a list of pretty much all the games that I at least want to look into. And I want to play them in order because I feel like context is important, right? At the end of the day, knowing where something came from helps you understand that thing better, especially when it comes to video games. So if you're looking at a game that came out, I don't know, 1982, are you going to know the difference between 1982 and 1983? Because that's a huge difference in video games. But if I just play a game and I say that it's from 1982, or if I say that it's from 1983, that doesn't necessarily mean much. But if I show it alongside other games that came out that same year, and I play, 15 games in a row from that year, and then I move on to the next year, and then you can see the difference between them, I think that adds to the video games themselves. Like I said, I'm not here to make jokes. I do make jokes. I think I make jokes. But I don't use the games as a platform to make those jokes. I'm here to show off the game. The game's not here to make me look good. I'm here to make the game look good. That's always been my goal, except when I was drunk. But that's probably not going to happen anymore. We are hopefully going to go through this journey together. I hope you guys will join me on it. It will be a long one. And it's one that clearly is never ending. As long as they make video games, there's going to be more video games that I'm interested in playing. I know that this is a project that I may never finish because I don't think it is a project that can be finished. My goal is to get as far along as I possibly can. And I think that I can do that. I can make substantial progress going this way. I don't see myself necessarily as a retro gamer, but, for the next couple years, that may be the way that people look at me, is that I only play these really old games. And I talk about the games, and like I said, I want to talk about the people. I want to follow Miyamoto through all of his games. I want to follow, Lord British. I want to follow him around. I want to see what those guys are up to, where they go, what happens to them, why Atari failed, why Nintendo didn't fail, why they succeeded, why Sega got into the business, all that kind of stuff. That's all the stuff that I want to talk about. And instead of just talking about it, I want to showcase it. And I feel that Let's Plays are the not necessarily best way, but they are a very good way to showcase these things. I can just tell you about the games, or I can show it to you. And I plan on showing as many games as I can. At least the good ones. There's a lot of bad games out there. Even though my list is massive, the list of games that aren't on that list is even larger. It is insane how much there was just crap back in the day. All right, I have rambled on long enough. So that is the basics of what I plan on doing. So I hope you guys do look forward to it, and I hope to see you then. I've been ballerscuba. Hope you laughed. Hope you learned. Hope to see you next time. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.